Well, I'm now joined by the CEO of Consulting Engineers South Africa, that's Lefadi Makibinyane. Thank you for joining us, Lefadi.
Thank you very much, Francis.
There's so much controversy, and today, following that march that we saw, over the 6 million job opportunities. And I thought I'd ask you, I believe you're in a unique position to assess, given the spending on infrastructure right now, because that's, of course, a key creator of jobs. Can the ANC do it, do you think?
Yeah, I think if we just get the fundamental right, it's achievable. If you look at the study that was done by KPMG on how the government must, spend or budget towards expenditure of infrastructure, they're talking about we must take the gross fixed capital formation to 10% of the GDP. And with that type of approach, we can generate about 3.4 million in 3 years. So,
which isn't bad. So
which isn't bad. It's halfway there. So it's a matter of government reorganizing itself and ensuring that, the budget that is put aside for infrastructure development is actually spent. So it's possible.
But what is worrying, and your president raised this, is that government is actually spending less in the current budget period than it did before.
Yes. I think what is actually causing the government to spend less is the capacity that we are saying that they lack. The government lacks the technical capacity on their side, and they cannot match the competence of the private sector. But we are saying that we are the pool of the South African resources. So consulting engineers who are actually at the front end loading of infrastructure development, we are saying that we can avail ourselves if we get into negotiation and discussions with government and change certain things that are not really done right currently. We can achieve that.
Well, I'm so glad you've raised this, because your president said that government doesn't have the skills. You need engineers to actually hand over those projects, to supervise the projects, presumably to decide who gets the tender. So you are saying that CESA will step in?
We'll step in. Basically, we are involved. As CESA, we're involved in all major projects that have ever been commissioned in this country. The Gautrain, the Stadias, the Kuga. We are at the core of infrastructure development. So the engineering and design part, the planning and design, is normally done by consulting engineers. But the way that is done, the challenge is in the procurement. And that is where we would like to actually revolutionize the way that the services of consulting engineers is done in this country. And if the government give us the hearing of presenting our proposal, we believe that we can assist them to achieve the goals.
Does it seem like they will give you a hearing? Your president raising another big concern that these tenders are awarded on price and not quality. To me as a layperson, that sounds disastrous, because you could have shoddy workmanship, bad construction. We've seen what happened with the mall recently.
Absolutely.
Is it that serious?
That is very serious. That is very, very serious. So price mustn't be the determining factor. Price must be secondary. So quality must precede everything else. And once you have secured service providers or consulting engineers on the basis of quality, then we can negotiate price, and we can be fair in the way that that is allowed.
My question is government listening to you?
I think government is listening. We have made some innovative input to National Treasury, and they are reviewing the whole procurement system, especially as far as procurement of consulting engineers is concerned. We're making our noise. We're having our working groups. 2 days ago, we had a discussion with the National Department of Public Works, where we have the Build Environment Working Group that is being led by the department. And all the constituencies of professional services are represented into that. So they are listening. The most important thing is the acceleration. How fast can we actually change things to ensure that we don't run behind with our National Development Plan implementation?
If we're talking about construction and where it could go wrong, could you comment on the Tongaat Mall? Consulting engineers look at the design, they don't get their hands dirty, but where does something go wrong in the pipeline?
I think it's a lack of understanding of our value proposition as consulting engineers. That mall was supposed to have been designed, and I guess so, that it was designed by consulting engineers. but the powers that may be of the developer, can really dissuade. And it all depends upon, because as CESA, we command about 80% of consulting engineering firms in this country. So there is 20% that falls outside CESA. And that is why CESA, we have a very stringent code of conduct to ensure that, business integrity, ethical behavior is upheld at all times. So as CESA a member firm, you become incorruptible. You cannot be influenced otherwise to take corners. In the Stonghard Mall, we believe that there was an undue pressure that was exerted by the developer on the consulting engineering firm that designed the mall, and then as a result of that disastrous behavior. So, we take an exception as far as those type of things are concerned. And we are the regulator. If the government can understand that, CESA is the regulator of integrity of designs, for the safety of everybody. That will be very fundamental.
My final question to you is, recent stories about construction have spoken about collusion, lack of transformation, corruption. From the inside, what is your view of the construction industry?
Yeah, my view of the construction industry, I believe that they can, they can change the way that they've done things. I mean, that is very regrettable to collude, which is really another form of corruption. And what we are saying is that, the ethical behavior, conduct of business, especially for the provision of services to government, must really be checked. And I call upon the construction industry to follow the model of CESA, of actually having a very above par type of conduct that you enforce on your members to conduct their business in a very integral manner. So, when you look at the construction industry, the collusion in particular, the competence that I'm talking about, that is supposed to be mirrored on the side of government, has resulted to that. It takes two to tango. So I believe that if there were, quality appointments on the side of government, they could have foreseen the collusion strategy by the.
You need the monitors to be as qualified. You need the monitor on the other side to qualify to match that.
Otherwise,
we have to leave it there, but thank you for giving us that update, and we'll follow how government responds to these strong calls around the tendering process, especially.